Hello ladies and gentlemen, as I got here, bringing to another video for Conqueror's Blade PTR. Um, this is another video for Conqueror's Blade. This is a PTR update, and I think this is going to be the last PTR. I think it goes down at 12, so I've got only around about 7 hours to check out anything if I want to. But generally, we have just probably we'll probably have another PTR hopefully just before the release of the companion cavalry, and obviously another one just before the release of the Sunward Phalanx. But I don't think there's going to be very much changes from this. More or less, people are saying that um, the units are acceptable. My opinion is that all of these units are pretty much overperformers. The Slinger is definitely too cheap, too strong, and utility is very wildly more effective than what you would get for an equivalent of leadership. But that being said, as well, they are competing against. They are technically competing against rattan marksmen in the tier 3 category, but in terms of leadership, even two slingers might actually uh, edge out a single rattan marksman, only because I think the concussion is much more effective than you would think it would be. Um, but that's only a practical application. It's still rattan marksman's territories in terms of damage output. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So um, slingers are in a weird, awkward position where they're just wildly too cheap for how strong they feel. Um, the nerf to the nerf sides decreased by 8, um, pretty massive. Having the shield allows them to block attacks, so they've got this kind of thing going where they can block some attacks, and that's really good. Unfortunately, they just generally too weak to sustain any damage anyway, so nearly most ranged units would fire at a much higher fire rate than these slingers. As I said before, the general DPS, um, it's like some of its closest competitors are still dealing about 12% more damage per second than these guys. And that's in the tier 3 category. I'm not calculating accuracy here, but if I was to just quote this, like their accuracy is on the middle of the pack side. It's not the most accurate, but if I was to give you a baseline, they're probably slightly more accurate than prefecture archers. And again, prefecture archers are very inaccurate. That's because they also have super high fire rate. But regardless of that, their attack speed is just generally really slow. They're basically firing only slightly faster than Demez Arbalest or Demez Arquebusiers, which have, I mean, Demez Arquebusiers has the lowest fire rate of the tier 3s, and Demez Arbalest are only slightly faster than that. I think it's 0.23. They throw they throw every 5 seconds basically. They have a huge startup time for their animation, but they track up until they attack, which is really good. Unfortunately, there is no tracking prediction, so you still have that issue where just moving will allow you to dodge most of the attacks. Which again, I think they should have accuracy they should have a dynamic accuracy thing against moving targets and how the unit kind of adapts to that situation. Unfortunately, they don't have that thing, but yeah. That being said, the changes for this unit that they did most recently is probably so obviously you can see is that Slinger's got a leadership increase of 80 to 100, and now the bug fix where the blocking is changed um, so that they can now block properly while attacking. again, it's a minor thing. It, it's something that was just like, oh, attacking, you shouldn't be like. I totally understand that the attack, the like not having block when they attack, it could be a thing, should be a thing. Like I don't know. I don't look at the animation. Some like, nor have I seen people throw rocks where, well, or like use a sling where they have a shield in the other hand. It would be super awkward if you've ever tried to throw anything with something in your offhand. You don't normally train with something in your offhand, kind of thing. The other thing as well is the exclusive doctrine, Apollo's Blessing, has been changed from restore 150 health per second during quarrying to 25% accuracy. Um, Although it probably doesn't state here, but again, it's just one of the changes that's going to come through. Now, back onto the companion cavalry. Again, name hasn't been updated again. I'm not sure if this update log has been changed or if there was no update. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to give us thing. Anyway, oh no, it's been updated, so it's still thing. Whoa, what the hell? Did its speed go back up? Wow, its speed went back up. Why did its speed go back up? Did they revert some of things? That's weird. Um, yeah, because that was 10.8 yesterday. That shouldn't be 10.8. So, not sure what's happening here. Companion Cavalry has several things happening for it. So they optimize the visual effect of Sworn Guard's Circle for better perception, optimize the Storm Pound penetration effect, added base effect inflicting 1% of the target unit's current health as bleeding for 10 seconds, change the final node on the unit training, modifying the bleed effect of Storm Pound to inflict 1.5% uh, of the target unit's maximum health as bleeding for 10 seconds. Damage from the horse charge in portion damage from a portion a portion of the, I think that's bad English here. Portion damage from horse's charge in Storm Pound will ignore blocking. Again, that's retarded. I don't like that. Any like ignoring block, like when you have mechanics, when you have things that just ignore mechanics, this is stupid. Optimize some skills and unit tag descriptions. Okay. All right, fine. I'm not going to go through every single description and try to figure out what's different. My general opinion of the cavalry is, frankly, it's completely OP. It's has a large unit size of 25. It is massive in terms of cavalry. Probably the largest, sorry, it is the largest cavalry to date, and it has damage thresholds which are much higher than what we are used to. Like, as a singular hit, I am seeing hits for 1500, not 1500. I'm seeing hit for like 15,000. Do mind, this might be because of block break, but to put it simply, some of their base damage feels like it's hitting for 10,000 damage, and we haven't seen this since the original version of the Yanyu Daos back in their PTR for Eternals. This damage is also very similar to the 100% damage increase from Heavy Prefecture Cavalry, which got nerfed, by the way. That got nerfed, so they no longer can even reach 10,000 damage. And we have Companion Cavalries that easily can reach that 10,000 damage by getting this Storm Guard maximum effect after 10 seconds. And it's it's disgustingly fast. disgustingly fast. You will never catch this cavalry with anything. It's faster than heavy prefecture cavalry. You're better off chasing after the hero, which again, not an easy feat. There's not very many units in the game that can keep up with the hero, let alone kill them. And I mean that. I've tried to kill besides heavy prefecture cavalry. I've seen spears and just regular people outrun melee cavalry like it's nothing. They've dodged anything from like Keshigs literally charging at them, uh, Krieg's brothers, and of course I've like the only thing that's reliably been able to catch heroes has been heavy prefecture cavalry. But that's also
What to
because
say?
like the breakthrough thing dazing them just probably stuns the shit out of them. But yeah,
Θυμάσαι,
these
θα σφραγίσει τη
cavalry,
θέση μας στην ιστορία.
again, it's a cavalry unit. It has phasing, it has high damage, and it probably has a really high hit limit. It's crazy strong, and I think they're just relying on the counters to just kill them, which realistically only entails just a couple of units. Otherwise, they pretty much kill everything. I don't think
試合を全うす
Orochis
る
are even fast enough. I don't think Orochis are going to be fast enough to counter um, the the companion cavalry. Literally would not be fast enough.
早くなれチ
Medal's
ビよなま
already look like they're getting completely pounded by the new cavalry, and you'd probably get to a point where a single Medal distracted by anything will instantly get killed by the new cavalry. You could probably throw two of the new cavalry at the Medals and it would die. That's how scary, that's how much damage they're throwing at you. And of course, any shield unit, you know that they hate shield units. Every single cavalry basically has an instant block, high block. Like they basically make it so that blocking doesn't matter. For cavalry, they think all shield units should just die. That's how I feel, and that's how I and I really hate it. I think it's just really annoying how they have these
Θυμάσαι, θα
mechanics that
σφραγίσει τη
completely
θέση μας στην ιστορία.
destroy the dynamic of another mechanic. You need to be able to block damage. If you're not blocking damage, your block is useless. You have attacks which literally ignore blocks, and it's fine if you accommodate for it, but you're not accommodating for it for units that hit so hard, hit so fast that no unit can survive them. You either kill it, you either kill it, or you die. There's no way around that. And we are, again, in this weird scenario where even direct counters are struggling to survive when killing it. And that's not a good thing because as a cavalry unit, they're much, much faster than their counterpart, than their anti well, than their counter, than the they're much faster than the counter, so they'll always have the initiative. Cavalry will always have the initiative against pikemen. It's just a fact. So they need to figure out they need to figure out what the hell they're doing with this Sworn Guard because it's definitely sending them into a it's definitely making them too strong and it's way too untenable to keep them in this state. That's my opinion. But they refuse to nerf they refuse to kind of address this. And I don't think it's because people are signaling how bad this really is. It's completely and utterly um it's completely and utterly disgusting that another cab unit is just basically like you saw how easy it was to just outrun the Zhuangjia heavy cavalry. The Zhuangjia heavy cavalry are fast. Normal cavalry cannot outrun them. I cannot outrun them with other melee cavalry. Those guys can still catch me. Well, maybe I'm just terrible at the game, but I, Alan just easily outran them with these cavalry, and then just dicked on them in an instant. Remember, Gale Strike is a low cooldown, basically a charge. It's the same type of it's the same type of charge that the Kriegs brothers do, where they'll do a very powerful attack at certain intervals. It's on a 6 second. It has a base duration of 6 seconds and a 15-second cooldown. That's ridiculous. Imagine Winged Hussar having a 15-second charge. You can get it low. You can get it to like 30 seconds, 20. I think it's 30 seconds or something. And that is already really strong. Throwing out a Winged Hussar charge every 30 seconds. Not that like your Winged Hussars will survive every 30 seconds, but yeah. Obviously, Stormpound is just as strong when buffed by Stormguard. I'm not particularly drawn to it, but I can definitely see that dense pile of infantry getting hit by Stormpound will die because I feel like Stormpound is a much better kind of AoE and CC type ability where you would follow up with Zephyr Blade, which is basically like a point blank charge. This again, like if Gale Strike was a charge, Zephyr Blade is also a charge. These two are basically charges, and if you use Stormpound into Zephyr Blade, yeah, good luck. You're not surviving. You're not surviving two high damaging skills back to back unless you kill this cavalry, which is probably going to happen. And I'm not even sure if it either has CC recovery or CC immunity. From what I understand, from what I understand, it doesn't have any of these CC immunity things. But I'll be honest, it didn't look like the medals were stopping them. So keep that in mind. A lot of times, it's not the fact that the pike units can stop cavalry, it's the fact that pike units kill cavalry. Stopping them is only secondary. Killing them is the primary focus for a lot of counters. And it's just going to be the same thing with these guys. Stopping them is not the point. Killing them is. And I don't like this kind of kill or be killed mentality. It just makes a lot of like it makes a lot of resource management just pointless. Like back in the day, we used to actually have to manage resources. Like we'd always we'd have to use units in a particular order. Otherwise, we'd waste. Like if you throw two Imperial Pike marches together, you screwed up because you wasted one Imperial Pike march where when you could have walked one after the other. So you've lost one Imperial Pike march. And again, like people used to advance into Imperial Pike marches because that was the tactic to stop the Imperial Pike marches from moving forward. Even if they get knocked down, the heavy shield units wouldn't die, and that was the point most of the time. So those were the changes for the.
Finati santonari,
I already said
soffi
the changes,
santinafina,
but yeah,
Grigori santonermi.
um, these guys. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, man, again, like all of these changes just really annoys me. But the Sunward Phalanx. So they've changed the control effect of brace, changed from knockback to daze. I think this is a stupid change, and I think that like they don't understand the problem with the unit. I think keeping the knockback, I think they should keep the knockback because it makes it makes them like it's really hard to explain, but the Port of Brushes has a knockback on hit. Doesn't matter if it's in brace, doesn't matter if they're in attack mode. They have a knockback on hit. It is a thing in their kit. It's not stated anywhere, and it's not stated either, but it has an internal cooldown and it's a knockback. And it doesn't matter if they're in brace or if it's a normal attack or following, whatever. When they hit you, they'll trigger a knockback. It won't trigger again within a certain amount of time. I've never actually figured it out, but it's probably like 10 or 20 seconds, something similar to the Janissaries that now been reduced to 6 seconds or whatever. The thing that I don't like is how the this Sunward's Phalanx is an improved version of was an improved version of the Fortebraccios because it's not its own thing yet. It has the roaming brace kind of thing. People were saying that, oh, it's too similar to Imperial Pikes. Yes, no duh. Keep it that way. Imperial Pikes are still Imperial Pikes. You want to change dynamics? Change it then. The important thing is that it is similar, but it's different enough. Like even if you had exact same carbon copy, literally just have Fortebraccia Imperial Pike March. Fine. It is absolutely fine. Like there are so many similar abilities that you don't need to make a wholly unique ability. The Imperial Pike, this roaming brace thing will still be compared to Imperial Pike Walk. They just don't cause anything. They just now have days on hit, which I think is which I think is just as way more oppressive in a different way because it increases their killing power way like the killing power of brace with days of sorry like brace walk roaming brace with days is so much scarier than the knockback, and that's just my opinion. And again, it's not really that different if you consider that like up downgrading the knockback to a days, but it really is scarier when the there's two sides of this thing. Like stun on brace has I've never really liked stun on brace because stun on brace made no sense to me. The trigger rate for stun on brace was always too high. The thing about the knockback on brace is the same thing. It was triggering too much. And I think that's what people were getting at, but just they didn't solve the problem here. And I'm really annoyed that they're just not addressing the problem, whether or not it's stun on brace or knockback. They both are being triggered too much. So I think I want it to be knockback. I don't care if it is going to be days, is how I want to put it. I'm just annoyed that they did downgrade it instead of addressing the true problem that they're probably facing, which is um, the over triggering. Now, there's another caveat to this as well. Their brace performance because mostly because bottom lines +1 is is sending them is making them too strong in brace. And I say too strong in brace as a point because when you only have the normal, you can't use Shieldtron to block a winged star charge. If you use bottom line and Shieldtron, cavalry units can't break through because you do enough damage, you hit enough units, and yeah. I'm not sure how to explain this in a way that makes sense, but simply put, I think the Phalanx unit has a hit limit of 1. If you increase that to 2, that's 100% damage increase. Why does the dev not understand that having a veterancy that literally increases the damage by 100% is just a no-go? I just I just don't understand sometimes what the hell the devs are thinking, or what the hell people are telling the devs. Now, on to some of the other things. The cooldown changes to Ares Flurry. It's a short it's a short cooldown ability anyway. So it changes from 13 to 16. So it's not here, but basically now with the top veterancy, you only it goes down to 10 seconds from 7 seconds. And again, like Ares Flurry was designed and looked like a burst type ability where the triple stab would basically rip apart anyone. I'm not sure on the hit limit, but getting hit by 40 guys that deal 2,000 damage, even if the hit limit was like, I'm guessing that the hit limit's 3, maybe it's not. If it's 3, that's some ridiculous amount of damage. You do not have, even if you do not have brace bonuses. Do mind that the reason why the Orochis do so much damage with their stab is because it has multipliers that increases its damage up to 3 times. Its base damage, if you're standing still, is only around about 3,000. That hits 3 units for the first one, 2 units for the second one, but my goodness, you're moving, that thing will do 7,000 damage to you easily. So continuing on, it's not actually that strong, but when you multiply it by the 40, it is strong. It is strong. And of course, you have a larger area of attack. So it just feels even stronger because you use more units that are in contact with you and are hitting you. So any hit limit increases from this will shoot up in effectiveness. Again, address the problem. What is the problem? Their damage output is too reliable, too high. So what do you need to do? You need to limit their damage potential. Not the individual, the damage potential. Well, I mean, not what I meant. Not what I meant. Like, there are ways to deal with it, but it's just like there are obviously things that they didn't account for or didn't take into consideration. Ares Flurry definitely does has to have a multi-hit because it looks stronger and hits harder than Brace. It's it's like Brace does around about 1,600 damage. This thing does 2,000 damage, but that's also because I'm top line veteran right now. It's getting an increase in cooldown. Fine. It should get an increase in cooldowns considering how powerful it is right now. But 3 seconds? That's nothing. That's nothing. As a unit that will barely use Ares Flurry, like you would only use Ares Flurry if you wanted to kill something really fast, and not a lot of things are able to withstand them in the first place. Now, they also reduced the damage by 10%, and they reduced the normal attack damage in Brace by 10%. This makes sense that they would reduce the damage, but at the same time not. Why it makes sense is because that they also increase the base health, and I don't like this. I don't like this because they're trying to make a unit that is generally very squishy and has a very very powerful passive into a tank. The shield, the shield here is strapped to their arm. This thing deflects at most. It doesn't truly block it doesn't truly block attacks. It's so hard to use because it's designed in such a way so it's to be used in conjunction with the Sarissa. Anyway, that's just a pet peeve. So another thing that that was strange to find out is that their block value is only 400. It's been decreased to 300. I honestly think that this has to be lying, or we don't understand how block values work in the first place. And another thing, they increased the base health to 7,000, and we now get this multiplier effect where it's now 10,659. It's not a bad amount of health. Also, if I don't know why, but I feel like the armor was also increased, but that could just be me. I thought their armor was in the low 500s, but might have been blind. I might look back through videos here. And they changed the damage bonuses from their, what is it? This Divine Gaze. So at 5 stacks, it reduced the damage bonus of Divine Gaze from 40% to 30%. Although they haven't changed it here, um, Divine Gaze in general is incredibly powerful because it's a 30% increase in damage. Also, and just some housekeeping things. Piercing armor penetration earned from each additional movement speed changed from 30% to 25%. Piercing damage earned from each additional movement speed change from 10% to 5%. The movement speed earned from the first stack of enhanced attack changed from 21 to 15%. Okay, strange. Hercules Warcry, the invulnerability duration changed from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So that is the changes to the seasonal rune that is coming. The incoming units are definitely going to be fun to use because they offer so much utility and probably gameplay which is it's kind of hard and fast. Like how to explain? Like the slingers work out as a ranged unit. You have infinite ammo and you can just keep throwing at the enemy. Feels great. And the small amount of CC that you do will go a long way. The damage you output, nothing to really hit home about. But to keep up that constant pressure, the small amount of CC, and how cheap it is, definitely think that it's going to be kind of like a replacement for serfs if you don't if like it is kind of a replacement for serfs. The companion cavalry are definitely going to be meta. There's no question about that. They hit so hard that I don't see them not being meta. And similarly, the phalanx. Now, these guys are these guys have the same problem that Fortibrushers had when they had their normal turn rate. Changing the knockback to days is not going to solve the issue with these guys just completely being dominating on the battlefield. No unit is going to be able to get on top of these guys because they have enough block break that it will shred through blocking units. And even if blocking units can get on top of you, an Ares Flurry, Ares Flurry will annihilate the unit. Just straight up, just annihilate the unit. But maybe I'm over exaggerating it. The phalanx, like Fortibrushers, I thought wouldn't be terribly strong when they had the turn rate changes, but it turns out that everyone was using water brachiots because the turn thingy made it almost impossible for any of the existing unit back then to deal with them. And especially when they start spreading out, because you can't block from all directions and you always take out sections of the formation at a time. So the area denial was just so strong. That also being said, Fortibushes have also been buffed since then, and also the Sunward's Phalanx also has 1600 base damage from the like. Well, I mean, Fortibushes now have 16 as well. I'm pretty sure. Well, used to have 11. How much do they have now? Yeah, they have 16. They have 1600 damage, and that's a lot of damage. Ah, man, I have a lot of opinions, and I
Η μοίρα μας ευνοεί.
I don't know how they're
Το
going to change
πεπρωμένο
or fix
μας
this
είναι
without just
εξασφαλισμένο.
addressing the main things. Make the Sunward's Phalanx less flexible. That's the first thing. They're too flexible. You add any like, god damn it, man. Charge with these guys are going to be so goddamn powerful. Sprint with these guys, okay. I mean, like, it doesn't affect their imperial pipe, their roaming bracing from what I've seen. I've tried to use the nightly vow. Doesn't look like it increase. It doesn't look like it changes anything of that. The companion
Είσαστε
cavalry
νόμιμοι,
needs
κληρονόμοι της
to
δόξας.
stop just murdering shit, and again, like, limit the power of this goddamn cavalry, or like figure out how to limit the Sworn Guard, because unchecked this thing alone doesn't it this thing alone can already kill you. If this thing catches anyone fighting anyone else, they will murder you twice over and before you can even blink. I'm probably just repeating myself, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is probably going to be the last of the preseason PTR. It is going to release on the 20th. So I expect great things for the Slingers. I really want to get them out into actual battles. I don't think a lot of people will use them, considering that Rattan marksmen are legitimately OP still. You might see incendiary archers come out, which are, again, sleeper. People keep forgetting that these guys are actually really, really strong and scary. They also have bonuses like to their fire arrows, so they'll deal more damage. If the cooldown wasn't so long, maybe. I think the cooldown for the fire arrow being so long is what's holding them back. If they basically just shot fire arrows continuously, that would be broken. But I mean, like, the Rattan marksman shoots poison arrows continuously, so why can't the incendiary archers shoot fire arrows continuously? Huh? Anyway, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. But other than that, my name's Atsuka. Have a nice day. Bye for now.